Welcome into Football and Other F Words. My name is Zach Lyons. You follow me on Twitter at these Zach Lyons. We've got Stoney Keeley at Stoney Keeley on Twitter. We got the Senior Bowl field right behind us, as you can not tell because of the glare and the sun and everything. But we are live from the press box at the Senior Bowl. The game just wrapped up. Jack Bech, well-deserved emotional moment, game-winning touchdowns, Senior Bowl MVP. This game had everything you could want on it: defensive plays, offensive plays, interceptions, touchdowns, trick plays. By far, out of the three games that we've been to together, I would feel that it's safe to say best game that we've been to yet.
Absolutely. I don't feel like these types of contests happen at the Senior Bowl very much. Kind of has a bad rap as like a glorified scrimmage. But today, I mean, the press box, the final 2 minutes of this game, the press box was on their feet with bated breath, watching Seth Hennigan go the length of the field pretty much, 2 minutes on the clock, hitting Jack Bech for that game-winning touchdown. And like you said, just such a tremendous moment, overcome with emotion there. His teammates, family members on the field as well. A great moment. Obviously named MVP, 6 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Just
68 yards seems low.
Yeah, but well, you got to think like they're churning wide receivers in and out. A lot of guys playing in this thing, and I tell you what, man, this was a good game. This was just a good football game.
It was exciting, shout out to all the losers who left Mobile early and missed this game.
The big media.
Big media. The Easton, not here.
Well,
JT, not here. But hey, at least Easton went and saw Chicago last night, so good for him,
saw
I
Chicago,
guess.
The musical?
The musical?
Oh, I like Chicago.
Yeah, well, he didn't. So kind of also serves him right to not only miss this game, but also hate the musical he saw last night.
Very well.
So here's the thing. Yesterday, and even today when I tweeted, or at least literally the last couple of days, I've said Jack Bech, Jack Bech. Jack Bech at 35 for the Tennessee Titans. I think he has a little T. Higgins, a little Puka Nacua to his game in different facets of the game. And I couldn't tell you how many actual people hated the idea of drafting Jack Bech and thought I was crazy today. But here he is, going crazy, making all kinds of catches, winning in all kinds of ways. This is a dude you want on your team. He's a football player. He loves football.
Yeah.
He doesn't matter where he lines up. He doesn't have to be in the game at this point.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to play in the game. He had such a good week. And dude came out, played all the way into the fourth quarter, got a game-winning touchdown pass from Seth Hennigan, who was secondary MVP of the week. And I think that when you look at everything the Tennessee Titans have said that they wanted to specifically from the character loves football side, Jack Bech is that dude. And if you walked away with whatever you do at one, whether it's Abdul Carter, quarterback, or Travis Hunter, plus Jack Bech, that's a damn good start of the draft.
Brother, we're cooking. You gotta come over to my side of Twitter every once in a while because we've been talking about Jack Bech for a hot minute now. And when I was asked earlier this week, 2 players from the Senior Bowl that I would be willing to die on the hill that they should be Tennessee Titans by the end of this whole thing, I said Miles Frazier and I said Jack Bech. When you watch the tape on Bech too, there are things that show up. He's a very savvy, nuanced route runner, polished wide receiver, plays a really complete game. He's built rock solid. I mean, the guy looks the part. He's tough.
He also kind of looks like he's 40.
Yeah. We saw him out here making catches outside of his frame, making tough catches. Like, the guy can do it all. You can line him up in the slot. You can play him outside. You can do multiple things with him. I mean, he's one of the better wide receiving prospects that I've studied in this class so far. I'm going to lose my notes.
Well, and Seth Hennigan, to go on the other side of the equation, Seth Hennigan.
What a drive.
A drive that started, by the way, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So they ran out the entire clock.
Yeah.
But it started with a false start, which backed them up about 10 yards away from their own end zone. And he drove the whole length of the field, ended up in 3 plays going to his own 41 right at the 2-minute mark, and 3 plays to a beautiful over-the-middle field pass to CJ Dipper from Alabama.
He just ripped it up the seam.
And then he just kept doing it. And they even got a couple penalties and got pushed back. And that Jack Bech play was a 4th down play. They could have gone for a field goal to tie it up, and little Bubba from the Cleveland head coach, Little Bubba. He decided that he was going to go for it because it's a Senior Bowl, and fuck it, he's got Jack Besh and Seth Hennigan, and look what it did, and they won.
They're on a heater, yeah. And I think what was particularly impressive about that final drive, Hennigan's poise, composure. Like he conducted that offense like he'd been there before. Like the placement, the velocity, the decision making, it was crisp and damn near perfect. Another guy, as Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas, made a big catch outside of his frame.
Made plays all day.
All week we've seen this guy make tough contested catches, and he did it on that final drive. Hennigan trusted him to put the ball in his vicinity, and he came down with it for a chunk play that got him into the near the red zone.
Yeah.
So
and he had a 2-point conversion earlier to get him back into the game as well.
Just a masterclass on that final drive from Seth Hennigan.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have asked, like, there were a couple plays where you're like, oh man, Seth, but really out of all the quarterbacks, maybe you can make an argument that Jackson Dart had a really good day too, and Shuck too. But like, I think Seth Hennigan probably had the best day out of the whole day.
Yeah, both of those guys had turnovers.
Yeah,
Dart fumbled. I think it was Landon Jackson popped it out. Tyler Shuck threw an interception in the red zone to Ransall, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe those are the conditions that just need to be set for Seth Hennigan to succeed. It's just got to be a clutch situation. You got to give him 2 minutes left, down a score, needing a touchdown to win the game.
Then he can't go to the Tennessee Titans because they're usually out of games.
Well, touche, yeah.
But I will say this: let's look at it this way. You come down here and you draft whoever you draft at 1.
Yeah.
Then you draft Jack Besh, and then maybe in the 4th round, I don't know who you really draft, but like 5th round, Carson Vincent.
Yeah.
6th round, Seth Hennigan.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're cooking with gas for the future, especially if you make a trade for Matt Stafford.
I mean, experienced quarterback. Was he a 4-year starter, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, 4-year starter immediately once he got to school.
Yeah, so you're getting a guy with some polish that, you know, we've kind of had some fun having this conversation about who is the Brock Purdy in this draft class. Could it be Hennigan? I think what we saw out on the field today makes a pretty good case that this guy's got a shot in the pros.
I will say this, and like I see someone, I think they're jokingly saying, oh God, not another Arkansas wide receiver.
Yeah.
And nobody's in here saying that Isaac Tesla needs to be, you know, picked 18 overall.
Yeah.
But like if you're talking about a guy that came down here that maybe went from undrafted free agent to 6th round, 7th round pick.
Sure.
That's a big story.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't even heard of the guy, truthfully, before he accepted the invite, filling in for someone. And rangy guy. He's got a great build, long arms, snatches the ball out of the air, and has the strength and the balance to kind of fight through contact to catch the ball. Like he had a good week, and not expected to be. You're not going to have to spend premium draft capital to acquire a guy like that. Solid addition to any receiving.
And just think about Matt Stafford throwing to Isaac Tesla.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
With Seth
Hennigan on the bench.
Yeah, and you got Seth Hennigan learning from Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
We're really building an off-season contender right here, before your eyes.
They should give us the keys to the franchise.
They should. Just saying, old Matt Stafford should be on everybody's radar. Let's take a minute to talk about Lions Ford here in Lewisburg, Tennessee, and of course, Mark Spain. We wouldn't have gotten here without Lions Ford. Literally, not only did they, are they a sponsor, let us have somewhere to sleep, but they were provided the car that we got to ride in. So Lions Ford in Lewisburg, Tennessee. Then, of course, Mark Spain Real Estate, your preferred, at least should be, real estate broker in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, so I didn't really think the America team had it in them. The practice was low all week, and the first note that I really have is how lackluster and low energy the defense was at the very beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything started cranking up slowly but surely, and the fire kept coming up and showing up, and the passion and the fight. And a lot of that has to do with, to me, is that you're starting to look at, guys like Jonas Sanker and run defense. I thought was really good. He made a
couple of good plays,
but
penetrating, getting into the backfield.
I really thought they were going to start. The national team was going to run away with it because of Savion Jones.
Oh, he's having a stellar
Am I getting my teams mixed up on my list?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have it.
No, Savion. No, sorry. The guy that kept him in it with the injury was Savion Jones.
Yes.
Savion Jones
Okay.
was a force today. In fact, before the Seth Hennigan mastered class in that final drive, you asked me who I thought that the MVP may be, and I was kind of thinking, well, probably going to be Savion Jones. I mean, he made play after play after play after play all throughout the game.
And a good example of why the game is important, why playing on Saturday means something, because he was a guy that you and I talked about, like didn't do any harm this week to his draft stock, but I don't think he flashed a whole lot in practice. So he comes to the Senior Bowl game on Saturday, shows out, and now we're kind of buzzing about Savion Jones a little bit. Powerful, bursty pass rusher, had a mean rip move crossing inside on Gavin Bartholomew and just turning him like a turnstile, getting to the quarterback, just getting up in the air, getting his hands up, batting down passes, that sort of stuff. Like just an all around great game from him.
I thought that Ollie Gordon made his presence known. He just feels like a player on the cusp of superstardom. I don't know what it is about him, but he just pops. He's good for like 5 or 10 yards. It feels like every time he touches the ball, whether that's through the air or on the ground. He's got the the preferred size of a running back. He's
big,
just a
just
little
big and
over
thick.
6 feet.
Yeah.
He's got the weight. He's got everything that you need. But these running backs really showed out today.
I jotted down 4 of them. Ollie Gordon led the game with 33 rushing yards, also had the touchdown pass. RJ Harvey, hard runner, also had a touchdown pass in this game.
The running backs outshone the quarterbacks in the scoring department for the most part.
Jarquez Hunter continues to be like just super tough to bring down.
Yep.
Rashard Smith, pretty explosive guy, had a good kick return in this game. I mean, they were really deep at the running back position today, and it showed up.
I think that was Draft Vogel.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, we should have just roped him in.
We should have.
You never know.
Nashville Predators hat.
You never know who's going to walk by.
Jarquez Hunter. I mean, that
he's
dude,
fun to watch.
He just doesn't want to go down on the
he's
first
just
hit.
Thickly built. I mean, you can't come at him with a weak effort. Like you've got to put everything you have into your tackle.
And
or
sometimes
you're not
that's still not enough.
I mean, he was just bouncing dudes off of him today. And
it was like that all week. All week was Jarquez
yards.
Hunter.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Very tough runner.
If he's there in the 6th or 7th round, you got to take him. In my opinion,
would at the very
I
least
wouldn't even bat an eye.
Be an upgrade to the Julius Chestnut spot.
I thought Marcus Yarns was the guy that stood out, but didn't get the chance to really show it because I think he was in there with Jalen Milroe.
Oh, that was Milroe struggled.
Milroe, offense, surprise, surprise, struggled after a week of struggling in practice. Struggled in the game.
It really cratered the offense too.
Yeah,
because they couldn't get anything done. It's another case of like something we saw throughout the week, like balls just hitting the dirt in front of the receiver. Low balls that guys had to adjust to. They couldn't recover, and his propensity to just kind of tuck the ball and run. Castro, the defensive back from Iowa, had a hell of a one-on-one tackle on him in the open field.
Went right into his thigh.
Yeah,
helmet to thigh.
It kind of made me wonder. I know it's one play in an all-star game, but it did kind of make me wonder, like, dude, our defense is just going to key in on his ability to run.
Well, yeah, because I mean, there's nothing else to be afraid of. You can throw your one-on-one lobs out to Jack Besh all you want in a Senior Bowl practice, but there's no Ryan Williams coming to save you no matter probably where you go.
Yeah.
And he's just been pretty terrible.
It just capped off a rough week for the guy.
Okay, so just real quick, let's take a pause from Senior Bowl talk because I got a question.
Okay.
And where is it? I think it was Vandy Man. What's the feeling about grabbing Danny Dimes? And I really just want to take a pause and say that this is 2025. We don't grab other people without their permission.
That's true. That is very true. If he consents, we can grab him.
You can grab. I'm out on Danny Dimes personally.
I'm okay with it. I think
you might as well just keep Will Levis.
No, I think he's better than Will Levis.
I don't think I've seen anything to approve of that.
You got to go back and watch some Danny Dimes tape.
Yeah, maybe back in Duke. I mean, I got to go to Duke. Danny Dimes.
I think he's better than people give him credit for, and he's not going to cost much. Like you could,
but you're already paying Will Levis. You might as well just not pay another quarterback. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind this Danny Dimes hype train.
I'm on board.
I know that there's people. I know Don and no, it's Dawn will kill me if I tell everybody it was her. I know Slay and Doherty, the mayor,
Yeah,
they're both in on Danny Dimes.
I'm in on Danny Dimes. Let's go. I
No.
think you can fix him.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line. A lot of struggles, I thought, across the offensive line. Gray Zabel had a few moments where I thought he showed who he was, but then he let Sevion Jones, I believe, come in through on one. He had a couple rough days, but it really seemed like there was no offensive lineman that really stood out.
Yeah,
am I missing anybody?
I don't think that's an exaggeration. Now, I mean, obviously, like watching every component of what's happening is tricky in real time. Like tape study withstanding, we got to go back and watch the tape on this one. But it did kind of feel like there weren't really any offensive linemen that just really leapt forward and commanded your attention. Even like Clay Webb was having a good game, and then he commits a penalty, and then he gave up a sack on one play.
Yeah, that was. Go ahead.
That was the Oladejo,
David Walker.
David Walker, yeah. So I think it's just more of a testament to both of the edge groups that these teams had. Like the defensive lines, the edges were just constantly getting pressure on the quarterbacks today. So I'm curious, like to go back and see, truly evaluate how the offensive lines did. But in real time, just watching the game in person here, I was a little disappointed. I think the offensive lines left a little to be desired.
I will say that I thought that I liked what I saw from Willie Lampkin.
Yeah,
because he just kept looking for work, and when he came looking for work, he was punching card for overtime. Like, I mean, that dude was going crazy out there.
He's a feisty guy, looks to get his hands on you, wrestle you around, wants to hit somebody. Like I said, with his size profile, his frame at center, you don't make it to the Senior Bowl without having that dog in you. He got that dog in him.
So what about Femi Oladejo? The UCLA edge, built so nice. Like, really, I mean, that guy is built like a dream edge position.
Long arms. He's got some speed. He's got some burst. He's got some moves. He had a really good game today too. One of the names I wrote down on defense.
Well, he stretched out for a Jalen Milroe shoestring
the shoestring sack was
another straight up sack off of CJ Dipper, just not even chipping him on the way out.
Yeah.
To me, I'm looking at Olafemi
Oladejo
and thinking, okay, well, that's a guy that if for whatever reason you're probably sitting there in the 4th or 5th round, I'd be pretty interested in.
Absolutely. And that's where we talk about the strategy for the Titans. Even if they do go Abdul Carter at number 1 overall, you need teeth to this pass rush. And it's a good class to need a couple guys,
right?
Because you can double dip, and it doesn't have to be like we joked, Abdul Carter at 1, Mike Green at 35, but you can wait because there are guys like Oladejo in this class that are going to be available in the mid to late rounds that add some value, but also a good leader from what they say too. He's got leadership qualities.
Speaking of the offensive line and the defensive line, I thought it was interesting that both teams continued to struggle throughout the game, running it on 4th and short.
Yeah. I mean, I thought for sure that we would see some power, some jumbo packages, stuff like that. I believe, didn't they roll out Elgersma on 1 4th down?
Yeah.
They rolled him out and didn't throw the ball and turnover on downs. So not sure what the thought processes were there.
Okay, so I tell you guys, Guy, that we talked about linebackers, safeties, running backs presenting themselves at a game like this, more so here than at the practices. But I thought Dan Jackson from Georgia was playing everywhere, and he was playing against the run. He's playing coverage. He was all over Jalen Lane and made a great – Jalen Lane went up and made a catch, but he put the helmet right where the ball's supposed to be, made a play on the ball, and just got it out of his hands. Dan Jackson was everywhere. And that's a guy that probably made him a lot of money and probably should.
He's a hard hitter. He was hitting hard in practice this week. My note on Dan Jackson just says Dan Jackson takes no prisoners.
He doesn't.
He is decisive. He takes good angles, which you love to see from a safety. He hits hard. He delivers. He's decisive. He knows where he's going, and he knows how to get there.
Yep.
And he knows how to inflict maximum damage as well. That dude can hit.
Caleb Bransall, who got an interception off Jackson Dart in the end zone, or was it Tyler Shook in the end zone?
Yeah.
He's a safety out of Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good week. They started lining him up everywhere. They put him even out in coverage as a cornerback, but he plays safety, cornerback. I think he played both free safety and strong safety at different times. Guy was all over the field. He ran in the hip pockets of wide receivers a lot, was able to make plays on the tight ends. He's a guy that caught my eye a couple days ago at practice, and he showed up again today. And I also thought Jonas Sanker showed up just a couple of times, not a lot, but he showed up a couple of times specifically in the run game. So there were 3 safeties right there that caught my eye right off the bat.
Yeah, and all 3 should be value adds mid to late rounds of the draft, which is something that I think you and I have talked about before. Is kind of a sneaky need for the Titans.
Yep.
I think they could really stand to get younger at safety if they're really going to roll into 2025 with Amani Hooker and Quandre Diggs as their top 2 safeties. You need a little bit of youth in there, and you need some upside. And I think all of the guys that you mentioned have that.
Junior Tuthuna.
Love him.
Talk about him.
Love him. Kind of a smaller.
He's a defensive lineman from where?
Utah.
Lighter
frame defensive lineman. I was telling you, like, I always fall in love with one of these small, twitchy defensive linemen down here. But he's got relentless feet. He's got a good spin move. He drives. He, aims right down the middle when he's rushing. Was all over the field in practice this week and showed up today. Fell on a fumble, recovered it for his team, got the ball back for him. He was everywhere today.
Going through my notes, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jaden Higgins and that pass that he caught. And I thought it was a very good play by him to be able to kind of maneuver.
Good concentration.
There's a good concentration and everything. He had a defender draped all over him and still was able to come in with the ball. I think that capped off. The Iowa State wide receivers were just a little bit all week. It's really weird that Jaden Higgins is the one that showed up at the game. Jalen Noel's the one that showed up at practice.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
And I'm almost kind of like with all these wide receivers that we did see play, that did show out, that we know that are also in the draft. Some didn't even play. We didn't even see Tez Johnson out there today.
Nope.
I don't know where I'm at on the Iowa State wide receivers. I know they have a lot of fans in the draft communities and specifically in the Titans communities. I don't know if the Titans have a draft pick currently where I'm like, you got to spend it on one of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think you could certainly do worse, and it depends on what you're looking for. Jaden Higgins, obviously, bigger-bodied X-style receiver. Jalen Noel, kind of a shifty slot guy, has some speed, looked good during practice, but didn't show up today for whatever reason. But I think Higgins, being the guy, I think he showed his strength in how he can be an option deep because of his wingspan, his reach, and his concentration at the point of the catch in a contested catch situation. That's what that touchdown highlighted to me.
I'm trying to go through and see if there's anybody that we really haven't talked about yet. From just my notes, it seems like we've talked about everybody. Tell me some people maybe on your notes that we haven't talked about that you thought showed up.
I've got one name that we haven't talked about, and I just want to mention Ty Felton.
Oh, yeah.
He catches that touchdown pass from R.J. Harvey. But if you go back and watch it, he does such a good job of selling run, acting like he's going to run block on the kid from Illinois State, Keandre Jackson.
Yeah, Keandre Jackson.
Keandre Jackson bites on it.
He did not have a good day today.
Thinks it's going to be a run. And as soon as he slips by him, Ty Felton accelerates into the end zone, turns, catches the ball, touchdown, big play.
Yeah. What about the tight ends? CJ Dipper obviously made a big play like we talked about earlier in that final 2-minute drill. Elijah Arroyo made a
2-point
conversion, and he just seems automatic when you're in the red zone. I don't know if he came out after that play. I don't really remember seeing him, but how much what were you able to glean from the tight ends this class? Because outside of today, I think that you're still talking about the same people we've talked about: Elijah Arroyo, C.J. Dipper. I don't know if anybody else really stood out. Harold Fanning Jr. and Tyler Shook did make a couple of nice plays.
Yeah, he was
on the
looking to him.
bootlegs before halftime.
Yeah,
They went through 2 bootlegs back to back, and he made some nice plays. But other than that, I didn't really see any of them stand out.
Yeah, they were making a concerted effort down in the red zone to get Fanning the ball in the flat and have him slip a guy and make a big gain. And it was effective for one of the catches, but I would say it was largely consistent with the week of practice. I felt like a lot of guys, like,
they all had their moments, but they never,
excuse me,
outside of Elijah Arroyo, it didn't seem like anybody really separated
themselves.
Yeah,
it just kind of felt like that mirrored today's performances, mirrored what we saw in practices this week, because even for a guy like Fannin Jr., kind of inconsistent. There were a couple of cases where he couldn't make a play when they needed him to make a play. And then there were others when he looked pretty good. He looked like the tight end that the reputation precedes him. So I would say it was just kind of meh.
Okay. Only players that played in the game as we wrap up our Senior Bowl coverage. Only players that played in the game.
Okay.
One offense, one defense. The Tennessee Titans have to walk away with this player in the draft, and they would instantly be a starter. Or an impact player.
Offense and defense?
No, one offense, one defense.
Jack Besh, too easy. And then on defense, man, only in the game.
Only in the game. We're not doing anybody that didn't play.
I might still say that's tough. I might just say Savion Jones. I think he was the best edge rusher today.
I'm going to go with Elijah Arroyo. I think he would start instantly for to give you someone different than Jack Besh, who also would be mine. And then I'm going to go Dan Jackson. I was just really impressed with Dan Jackson today. He's a missile out there, and he'd be a good complement to Amani Hooker. He would obviously start. They don't have a starting safety that's better than Dan Jackson currently outside of Quandre Diggs.
But Diggs is only on a 1-year deal.
So I mean, like they really don't have
him. Yeah. So he would be a starter. Yeah. It's good.
And so Dan Jackson would be an instant impact guy. Just real quick for linebackers, Jeffrey Basso, I think was the only guy that truly stood out to me today.
Yeah, I don't think I took too many notes about the linebackers today.
Which that happens. Linebackers kind of get washed out when you're trying to watch everybody else because they don't make a lot of big plays sometimes. Basso almost did. He had an opportunity to get a sack, and he had an opportunity to kill the quarterback in doing so. He decided that he just wasn't going to sack at all.
He could have ended Riley Leonard's life.
Yeah.
And he opted not to.
Demetrius Knight also could have ended someone's life today on the quarterback position as well. Other than that, that's been our Senior Bowl coverage. American team walks away with a thrilling last-minute win thanks to a Seth Hennigan touchdown pass to Jack Besh. Thank you, Stoney Keeley, for being a trooper.
Doing my best.
Fought through some sickness. I fought through some sickness as well. We're just, a couple sick boys. Lotion boys, sick boys.
All ball all day, though.
All ball all day. We stayed for the entirety of the game. Cleanup crew is probably sick and tired of us talking about this game.
Yeah, they're ready for us to leave. We're the last ones in the room.
And you know how we're going to leave? We're going to leave in style as we get into Alliance Ford Explorer, 2025 Ford Explorer. We're going to get into there. You all can also get a Alliance Ford vehicle and ride away in class by heading down to Lewisburg, Tennessee, just 45 minutes south of Nashville. Drive a little, save a lot. They'll make sure that you get all the discounts you qualify for in a new vehicle. And, of course, they'll give you the most bang for your buck for the trade-in. Oh, that screen just went off. That really scared the crap out of me for a second.
I don't know what's happening.
Other than that, and then we also have Mark Spain Real Estate. So this is thanks to Winner for 5 The Zone for trusting their Senior Bowl coverage to myself and also Stoney. And thanks to Mike Berganzi, Dominic Russo from Zebra Technologies who gave us interviews today. Hope everybody enjoyed the content for the week. I'll be back in the studio on Monday with Blaine Bishop, cover 2, 1 to 3 p.m. And, of course, we'll continue our coverage of the Tennessee Titans on Football and Other F Words every Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays live. Other than that, this has been Football and Other F Words live from the Senior Bowl. And you have just been effed.
Oh, my knees.